Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, out on another walk. And this time I'm walking in June on a very beautiful sunny Saturday. But I'm not alone, for with me are a couple of my wonderful viewers, Sarah and David Poole. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
And you?
And we're going on a hunt, aren't we?
Yes.
We're hunting for wild flowers, something that I know very little about, but I'm hoping that you guys know a bit more than me.
Fingers crossed.
So, shall we have a little stroll and talk about where we are and what we've seen?
Indeed.
So, Sarah, could you just pinpoint where we are?
We're just outside the Sussex village of Singleton, up on top of a hill called Levin Down, which is a site owned by the Sussex Wildlife Trust, and it's one of the SSIs, and it's known for its wildflowers and its bird life.
Fantastic. So we're going to try and see some of those wildflowers. We may not catch the birds on my little camera, but hopefully we'll catch a glimpse of some of the wildflowers. David, we've already seen, if I can just move over here, we've already seen as we strolled up a few samples of wild flowers. Could you just run through some of the things that we've seen?
Well, we've seen a lot of buttercup and this hawkweed down here, which looks like dandelions.
Yes.
This is hawkweed. We've seen lesser stitchwort, which is a little tiny white flower that is, there's some there, although I don't suppose it'll show on the camera.
No, I'll take a picture separately, I think.
Which is also called shirt buttons.
Oh, and that lovely name, shirt buttons.
Yeah. Another one we've seen, which cranesbill? Vetch.
It was the bird's foot trefoil.
We've seen bird's foot trefoil, which is a member of the pea plant family, a vetch, and it has a mixture of orange and yellow flowers on it.
Right.
And so it's often known as eggs and bacon, or bacon and eggs.
Oh yes, that's that tiny little yellow one with a little bit of orange that you showed me. What's fascinating is, from somebody who does a bit of walking over the downs, you said when you see one and you know what it is, your eye then adjusts to it and you start seeing many more of them.
Well, some of them are very small.
Yes,
they're really quite
tiny, aren't they?
so it's easy to miss them.
Yes,
and ordinarily I'd be walking along and you see the yellow ones, as you say, which are dandelions or maybe buttercups, and if you're not looking terribly sharply, you can easily miss them.
Indeed, and because it's up on the hill in the wind, they often don't grow quite as tall.
Right.
And sort of like the trees, they're can be a little bit stunted.
So we're going to take a gentle stroll around this Levin Hill, and we hope that we will see a few more things.
Yes. And we have seen orchids here before.
Oh wow!
Round the other side, and certainly last time we came round the other side of the field, which was the southern side, we did see quite a lot more flowers.
Right. Well, fingers crossed.
But things are rather late this year, I think, because of the poor weather we had.
Because of the poor weather. Yes, everything's slightly held back because of that rather grim winter.
There, very low. In the grass in front of that water. Trough.
Oh right,
but he's gone to ground now.
For my little camera, that's miles away.
Yeah.
There's
some eyes we can see.
Yes, there's something in the grass ahead of us there. I can see a little. Oh, is it a crow? Okay, there. I was hoping to see something a little bit more exotic.
If you see anything bright yellow, that'll be a yellowhammer.
Oh right.
We saw one of those last time we were up here.
So the scenery around here, though, unfortunately, we've missed the view of the Trundle and down at Singleton itself as we've come up the hill. But there's a lot of beautiful woodland to look at. Obviously the downland. We've got Goodwood nearby, which is sort of behind us and to our right, or to our east, I suppose. We're heading north now. Are we? Actually, the sun. Yeah. Wait a minute.
That's probably
that's more or less south, isn't it? So we're heading east, aren't we?
Yeah, I can show you. Look on
I'm getting anyway. I'm sure the listeners.
They'll forgive us.
Yes,
hopefully.
viewers rather. Wait for me, Sarah. They're all marching on ahead. They know where they're going. Got this lovely gate here into some woodland. You're going to open the gate for me. Oh, thank you very much. It's very difficult for me to do that when I'm holding camera and microphone. Here we go. Ooh. So I see in this woodland that it falls away rather sharply. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, ladies and gentlemen, but it does drop down, and I think there's a reason for that.
Yes, the hill was originally known as Leave Alone Hill, and that's because it's so steep it couldn't be ploughed or used for agriculture, so it's actually been left in its natural state, which is quite unusual for this part of the world.
Oh right, leave alone, I like that.
Yes.
Leave alone, because you're just not going to get a chance to do it.
Can't get a plough up here.
No.
Probably you can put sheep on it.
But yes, grazing I suppose is all possible. But we're not quite in the actual nature reserve quite yet. It's the other side of this woodland, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
That's it. We're following some a guide, a printed guide, and I'm following David, who's my guide.
Very, very dangerous.
But now you get a better view of how steep it is. It is very steep. Wonder how far down that goes. Is it a valley down there?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm not sure.
Oh, there could be a stream down there. Well, it's very nice. I think we've got a few limes in here, looking at some of the trees with my tree identification.
Need Julia here.
Yes,
TLJ.
actually, Julia is doing better at the tree identification than I am. I have to say, but there we are. But it won't be long before we get into the other side, so we'll just press on. Okay. So we have arrived at the Sussex Wildlife Trust Nature Reserve. Thank you very much, David. Opening the gate, and we're in. We've got more. So is there obviously there'll be different sort of wild plants and flowers inside woodland because of the nature of the shade.
The flowers in woodland tend to be earlier before the trees grow their leaves, so you get your wood sorrels and your wood anemones and your yellow archangels, bluebells, that sort of thing. But once the trees have got their coverage,
yes,
it's then the flowers have finished by then. Your dog violets and things are already gone.
Yes,
they're spring flowers rather than.
And that's because of they need the light, isn't it?
They need the light.
Yeah.
Right, we have a couple to show you.
Oh, you've got a couple to show me. Oh, fantastic.
That's Germander Speedwell. This is Germander Speedwell, I think. As you can tell, because it's got.
Has it got the hairs down the edge?
It's a Speedwell.
It's a Speedwell.
We'll leave it to
Speedwell, okay.
And this
interesting
one
name.
Over here is a common spotted orchid, which is,
wow,
as its name suggests, the most frequently seen, and its leaves have actually got spots on it.
A common spotted orchid. Wow. Oh, and the leaf is spotted as well.
Which is why that's where the spotted comes from.
Oh, I see. So it's not so much the petals, but the actual leaf.
It's the actual leaf that makes it the spotted bit.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. Some of these wildflowers are so tiny. Blink and you'd miss them. Sarah, David, we have barely gone anywhere. I'm used to sort of striding along on a walk and going places, but in the space of just not very far, entering the wildlife,
40, 50 yards,
nature reserve, we've seen tons of stuff.
We have, yes. It's all very, very. Some of it is tiny. We're talking sort of that high. You need to keep your eyes peeled. There's so many things that you just don't see on your everyday walks.
That's right.
Uncommon things, and yes,
tiny. But once your eye is adjusted, you suddenly start picking them out.
Little dots of colour.
It is amazing. David, what could you just talk us through some of the stuff? Don't get out. I'll come down to you. Oh,
right.
There we go.
What we've seen
I could do with a sit down.
What we've seen in this tiny little area, about 50 yards we've walked, we've seen milkwort, we've seen common spotted orchid, we've seen scabious. Did you look at which scabious it was? No. No, we're not quite sure which scabious it was. We've seen a scabious, we've seen eyebright.
And that's tiny, isn't it?
That is
so
tiny.
tiny.
Black medic, which is even tinier.
Which not even black.
No, and crosswort, which is again tiny. The flowers of the crosswort are about 2 millimeters across, so they're really tiny, but they come in little clusters. I'm just trying to think what else.
Thistles. I've seen thistles.
There are lots of thistles. Not quite sure
And
what
foxgloves.
store, and lots of foxgloves. Yes,
Yeah.
that's digitalis, which of course is poisonous, but good for hearts.
Good for hearts.
Well, they make a heart stimulant, isn't it? Digitalis.
Oh, I see. Poisonous but good for hearts.
Yeah, in small quantities. Well, it's a
Right,
bit,
yes.
a bit like deadly nightshade, which is
Oh, I
used
see
in
what
very
you mean.
small quantities, can be used.
Yes. A lot of names there to try and remember. Do you remember them all, or do they go out of your head, Sarah?
I remember some of them. Things that have got sort of funny country names like the pincushion flower and
yes.
cups and saucers and that sort of thing. They stick, but the proper ones, no.
No.
They fly out of my head. It's very frustrating, and then I have to look them all up again, and then
I guess that's part of the joy of it, though, isn't it? You're vaguely
It's a new experience every time.
Yes.
it
I was
is indeed.
vaguely familiar, and you go, wait a minute, I think I know what it is. It must speed up the
must be.
process of looking up.
Fingers crossed. If you can recognise the family it comes from, it
Yes.
makes it a whole lot easier. Not foolproof, but it does help. Yes.
What book have you got with you there? That looks a nice, good compendium to take
That
with you.
one. It's
Wildflowers of Britain and Northern Europe.
The first present I ever bought David,
And he's
28 years ago.
Gosh.
It's been dropped in rivers.
I
and all
dropped it in a
sorts.
river within about 2 weeks of getting it, didn't I? I had to fish it, which is why it's stained already.
oh right, but 28 years old,
28 years old.
and
it
you've
is.
still got it and referring to it. Amazing.
Well, it does it with they do it with, they're not photos, they're actually drawings.
Yes.
They do, and sometimes it's clearer than the photos, because the trouble with the photos is they're a picture of a very specific plant, but there's so much variation.
Right.
Whereas what they can sort of do in this is give an average look of every plant.
Yes, the sort of generic, what you're looking
Here
for.
today we've got the milkwort. We've got versions of the milkwort which is dark blue, and then there's another one side by side, same thing, and it's pink.
Now look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing views up here, but again, just to see how the hill just sort of disappears down into a valley, and then beyond we have a farm, buildings, and more of the South Downs, which is terrific. Clearly you can spend a lifetime looking at these wildflowers and identifying them and remembering them and all of that. So it's absolutely amazing. And of course, carrying a little book, I think, is the essential thing there, David, so that you can just refresh your mind on all those different things that you
Sometimes.
that you see. Well, I have to say, unfortunately, I've run out of time on this little video, but thank you so much, David and Sarah. It's been an absolute joy, and the scenery, of course, on this south side of what was it called? Levin Down. Leave them
Well,
alone.
you might leave them alone.
Yes, but well worth coming. Park at Singleton, make your way up over to the top,
But no dogs.
and no dogs. That's right. And well, yeah. Check online and come along and find out for yourself. But for now, thank you very much, and join me again when I go exploring somewhere else. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.